So I'm just going to demonstrate our pro dipping system. So I've just got a clear powder here. I'm just going to do 2 dips with a clear powder just to give you guys an idea of how to get it done. So you will just prep your nail as per usual, doing your cuticle pushing, making sure it's pushed back right to the back. And then with your 180 grit, just a nice little buff of the nails just to make sure that all the shine is removed. Make sure you get right into the sides of the nail where it sometimes starts to lift quickest, and right at the edge of the cuticle. Don't have to do too much. Then we're just going to give it a little quick wipe with your nail brush or your non-fluffy sponge, and then we're going to start with our number 1 prep, and just a thin coat of your dehydrate over the nail plate to remove any excess oil. Just let that dry for a couple of seconds as you're going to continue over all the nails. It will give time to dry. Then we're going to start with our base, our number 2, which is our base for our dipping system. So we just want to apply a thin layer. You can start a couple of millimeters away from the cuticle. Make sure you go right to the sides, otherwise the powder is not going to adhere if you don't have enough on there. And then we're going to go straight into the dip, making sure you get the finger right into the dipping powder to cover all areas, and then we're going to shake off the excess. As we're going to do all the nails, it will give us time to dry, and then we'll come back and dust them off. So it's dry now, so we're just going to push in with your nail brush or a little sponge just to make sure the powder adhere to the base, and then we're going to dust off any of the excess powder. And we're going to do exactly the same again with your base. Another coat, making sure you go to the back of the cuticle this time. Again, making sure you get to the sides. Just be careful not to get too much base on there, otherwise it will make little droplets on the nail. And again, straight into your powder. And shake off the excess. Okay, so then the second coat of our powder is dry, so I'm going to do the same, just pushing in with my little sponge, or if you use a brush, making sure that it adheres to the base, and then again brush off any excess powder. So we've done 2 dips with our base and powder. So now I am going to use my number 3 activator and just activate my acrylic powder to my base. You just want to make sure you wait a couple of seconds for that to dry before you start with your buffing and smoothing of the nail plate. So we've got our activator over our top there to make sure the nails get nice and dry and hard. So now we're just going to smooth our nail with our 180 grit file. So you can really just kind of like smooth the nail plate, make sure there's no bumps, especially on the sides. Make sure it's nice and even and look nice and natural. get the shape for the nail tip. And then you can just dust any of the excess powder and dust off with your little sponge. And then you are ready to either finish off with your top coat. I am going to use a IBD color over mine, so you don't need a base. So you can go straight in with your color. Let's give that a shake. With your color, how many layers you need, and then finish off with a top coat. So you can either finish off with your Pro-Dip number 4 finishing gel, or if you want to use your UV gel as a top coat, you can use that. So I'm just using the Moroccan Spice. I'm just going to cure this and give 2 layers. So I'm just going to put a second coat of my Moroccan Spice gel polish over. Just to give it a little bit of glittery shine. And I'm going to cure that one for 30 seconds with my LED. And then finish off with my top coat. So I'm going to use the IBD non-cleanse top coat, so you don't have to remove any sticky residue after the application. So we're just going to finish off with our non-cleanse top coat over the top, just to give it a nice shine and finish off. So this is our end result. So with our 2 layers of clear Pro-Dip and covering with a gel polish and a non-cleanse top coat. So nice and smooth, no bumps. So the trick is just to make sure that you apply the powder evenly over the whole nail plate with your base, not too much of the activator, and use your 180 grit file to do a nice kind of smooth over the nail plate. Hope this helps.